If you're over 50 and can't get job interviews or land job offers, I have some news for you. It's not your age. It's not your experience. It's not even your resume. That's the problem. It's the way you're thinking about your job search. Until you fix that, nothing changes. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I just want to remind you, it's not your age. It's your stinking thinking that's causing you problems for getting job interviews and landing job offers. So let's jump into it. I want to share something with you. So the first thing I want to say is you are not alone. So let's look at this chart. So we have 55 plus civilian labor force, over 39 million. Now unemployed 55 plus, active job seekers, 1.2 million. Then you have the long-term unemployed share, about 23%, 276,000. Now look at this. Potential discouraged older job seekers, whether it's age bias, retraining gap, 1 to 2 million. So the broader seeking or struggling to find work, it's somewhere between 2 to 3 million. And I'll show you where I got the data from. Okay. So you are not alone. And this is one of the reasons why I decided to share this with you, is because I'm over 50. My wife is over 50. And we are not doing the things I'm about to show you. Now, this is just one example. I have a lot more than what I'm showing you today, but this is just one example I'm about to share with you. So I want you to see it. So I've seen this candidate. I've been doing what I've been doing for nearly 40 years now, which is helping people to find work. That's what I've done for decades. And no, I'm not a recruiter. I'm none of that. Don't worry about what I do right now. This is about you. I want to make sure if you're over 50 that you do not fall into this category. So I've done everything candidate. So I'm going to give you a job title, Process Improvement Manager. I have 9 more of these. I'm literally creating more of them every week as I talk with people to kind of help them reframe what it is they should be saying versus what they are saying. So this is something that I've heard so many times. I'm just going to give it to you. So if someone's applying for this job, this is often how they would present who they are. I have 30 years of experience in manufacturing. I've worked in quality control, production management, inventory systems, and even some HR. I've seen it all, done it all. I know how to run operations from top to bottom. Now, I want you to think about the roles that you are applying to. And I need you to be honest and ask yourself, is this how you are describing what you do? Okay. Now, it's not going to make sense to you right now because you most likely will say, no, that's not what I do. When we get to the next slide, we're going to look at what the employer is looking for. Okay. So what is the employer looking for? Well, the company is struggling, okay, with implementing a new lean manufacturing system. And they need someone who can specifically lead Six Sigma initiatives, reduce waste by 20%, and also train frontline supervisors. They don't need a generalist. They need deep expertise and process optimization with measurable results and change management skills. So this is what the company needs. And this is what most people will say. Do you see the disconnect? Okay. This is what the person said, but this is what the company needs. So often people will ask me, well, how do you know what companies need? Do your homework. Look at the job description. Dig behind what they're saying. Everything's there. For most jobs, everything's right there. You just have to be able to read between the lines. Okay. And sometimes they just tell you what they're looking for. But if they're telling you pretty much 75% of what they're looking for, and you choose to give this response about who you are and what you possess and what you bring to the table, and you do not meet their needs, you won't get the job. You might not even get past the telephone screening. So, how do you fix this? Let me show you something. So you have this misalignment. The candidate listed their breadth of experience without identifying the employer's specific pain point. They never asked about current challenges or tailored their pitch to solving one critical problem. So we're going to talk about this in a minute. So let's take a step back. Process improvement management. You give a very broad statement, this individual, when a company has specific needs. Trust me, I've been in this seat before. I've done this many times in the past until I learned, oh, this is what I should be focusing on. So now, how should you respond based on your research? And what is your research? Starting with the job description. But I give you 4 things you can look at. Research the job, research the company, research the industry and the competition. Those are the 4 things you have to research. Job, company, industry, competition. Must, mandatory. If you cannot do those 4 things, if you are not currently doing those 4 things, you do not deserve to get hired. It's just that simple. Because someone is going to invest the time and effort to do those 4 things. And they're going to show up prepared. Now, when you do the homework, know the job, know the company, know the industry, know the competition, okay? Job, company, industry, competition. When you do the homework or research, this is what it sounds like. When they ask, tell me about yourself, you start off with something similar to this. I'm not saying copy this. What I'm saying is look at the difference. It's important. I specialize in leading lean transformations in manufacturing environments, particularly when implementations have stalled or need acceleration. Stalled or need acceleration. Over the past 15 years, I've led 3 major lean initiatives where the core challenge was similar to what I understand you're facing: getting a new system fully adopted and delivering measurable waste reduction. At whatever the company name is, I inherited a lean program that was 6 months behind target. The supervisors weren't engaged. The waste numbers weren't moving. Within 18 months, we exceeded the 20% waste reduction goal and certified nearly 50 supervisors in lean principles. What I've learned is that successful lean implementation is 30% methodology and 70% change management. The technical tools work, but only if the people running the floor believe in them and know how to use them. I'd be curious to hear more about where your implementation currently stands and what specific obstacles you are encountering. Now, from the initial response, will you just state your work history versus this response where you're speaking to the problems, okay? And you're addressing their concerns, but you're pulling from previous work experience and giving them examples. Now they are drawn to you because you're speaking their language. Lean manufacturing, getting supervisors to buy in, reducing waste within 18 months, getting well over the 20%. You're speaking their language because they have a problem that you've solved 3 times in the past. So now you're looking like a solid candidate, but we're not done yet. What you also have to do after this point is you have to dig a little deeper. You have to start asking questions now, and not just any questions. So here's question number 1. Can you walk me through where your lean implementation currently stands? What's working well, and where are you seeing resistance or challenges? This shows you're diagnosing before prescribing. You're trying to understand what's happening. And based on your experience and what you've done in the past, you can now reference where they are, where you have been, and then how to get them to move forward. So here's another question. What specific waste metrics are you tracking? And what's the gap between current performance and your 20% reduction target? Demonstrates you think in measurable outcomes, which is what they want. Here's another question. How have your frontline supervisors responded to the lean initiatives so far? What training have they received? Signals you understand the people side of process improvement, which some people overlook, which is weird. Because if you're in manufacturing, you need your people. Well, at least for now, until AI and robotics take over. But still, you understand. Diagnose before you prescribe. You understand that measurable outcomes are important. And then you also understand the people side of process improvement. I'm trying to show you how you should be presenting yourself, especially when you're 50 and over and coming with a wealth of knowledge and experience. Okay, we got 3 more questions. What does success look like for this role in the first 90 days, 6 months, 1 year? Powerful question. I use this a lot. Shows your results focus and want clear expectations. I'm going to stay on this for about 30 seconds. When you can identify what they're looking for, even though you might be new to the company, but not new to the role, you can now hit the ground running because you know specifically what they're looking for within 30, 60, 90, 180, and 1 year. And you can just hit the mark every single time because you know what they're measuring. You know it. So there's no guesswork. Makes your life easier. 5th question. Are there specific production lines or processes that are priority areas for improvement? Indicates you want to understand where to focus first. So you got your sort of, this is what we're looking for and this is the time frame. And now, what's giving you the biggest problem? Right? And let me get that out the way so to make my life easier moving forward. And you can see that I can do what I said I can do. Then finally, what Six Sigma infrastructure already exists? Certified belts, active projects, and documented methodologies. Shows you'll build on what exists rather than starting from scratch. If you notice, these 3 questions help frame what you would do when you get the role, and it allows you to hit the ground running. But we're still not done. So let's review what we just went over, because I'm going to make sure you get this. So the original approach listed broad experience across many areas, but the targeted approach focused specifically on Lean Six Sigma expertise. The original approach talked about what they've done. The targeted approach showed measurable results they've achieved. Original approach mentioned 30 years. That's a dates candidate. Oh, I have experience. You need to hire me. Okay. Targeted approach emphasized recent, relevant experience. The original approach, no specific metrics. But the targeted approach, quantified outcomes, 23% waste reduction 47 supervisors trained. Original approach, generic. I know operations. Targeted approach, specific. I solved this exact problem. Okay, I solved this problem. Original, passive recitation of experience. Target approach, active demonstration of problem solving. Original, no questions about employer needs. Targeted approach, multiple diagnostic questions. Original approach, one-way broadcast. Targeted approach, two-way conversation. So you see the differences. I'm going to make this simple. At no point should you ever consider anything remotely close to the original. Everything should always be a targeted approach. Every single time for every single job. Remember, this is the I've done everything candidate. And if you're 50 and over, and this is how you're presenting yourself, and you're wondering why you can't get job interviews, and why, if you get them, they won't give you a job offer, you are not using a targeted approach. Is it a lot of work initially? Yes. Does it get easier? Yes. This is why I provide you with templates for different roles. This is one template. I have 10 of them total. And like I said, I'm creating more. As people tell me, hey, this is the role I'm trying to apply for. Can you just give me some guidance, some structure, something that I can look to kind of know what I should be doing, what I should be focusing on when it comes to these interviews, and how should I present what I bring to the table so I can stand out as the top job candidate. Okay, that's what I'm working on. It was asked of me to do it. I said, no problem, I can do that. So I'm devoting time to do that. I got 10 right now, and my goal is to get to 50, possibly 100 before the end of the year. So that's the goal. So now, here's the core principle. Here's the core principle. Instead of, here's everything I can do, say, here's the specific problem you have. Here's how I solved it before. Here are the results I achieved. And here's how I'd approach solving it for you. Succinct, short and sweet. That's really what you have to do. This approach transforms you from a generalist hoping to be considered into a specialist who clearly understands the problem and has a proven track record of solving it. That is the core principle. I give you this at the end of every template that I give you. I share with you a core principle. What is the core principle? So, I am offering a workshop, 5 mental shifts to land more job interviews for 50 and over. For those who take this workshop, I give you access to these templates. Initially set for 2 hours, but if we need to be on longer because you have questions, we go longer. But I create templates for these individuals here because they asked for it from the first group. And so I'm putting it together. I just share with you one of them, and there's more to come, so much more to come. So if you're interested in learning more about the 5 Mental Shifts workshop, just visit the link in the description or the pinned comments. But just know, it's your stinking thinking that's preventing you from getting job interviews and job offers. And I get it. You're experienced. You have everything you need to get jobs. But remember, are you sticking with the original, I've done it all? Or are you speaking to the needs of the employer and showing them and demonstrating to them that you are the ideal candidate that can help them to solve their problems? Take care, you be safe, and you stay blessed.